Hey there, friends. It's me, Julia Sudo from the SMB Level Workshop, here with 29th level of the alphabet, aka Twix Ninjas. Monkeys need hard levels to breathe too. Hard mode mod for Super Monkey Ball 2. 10 stages long. We are currently on stage 4 as we're continuing directly from the last video. So if you want to see the first 3 stages, check that video. I got interrupted in the middle of my last recording, so I will be starting right here. I saved a dolphin save state and we are resuming from there now. Hopefully that will not cause any complications. I did fall off compared to the very end of my last video, but just to make sure that the save state was actually in fact working and put me back in the right position. So here we are. We're going to be finishing Exam S, and then hopefully we're going to be finishing the mod in this video. But there is, of course, a small chance that something will happen that will prevent that from happening, so just bear with me. We will at least get through a few stages in this video. I would like to say that that is what I am confident will happen. So yeah, I assume those of you who are coming from the previous video will know that this is a harder version of Exam C from that other game, which is called Super Monkey Ball 1 for the Nintendo GameCube. This has a couple of new things added, and it's reordered a bit. It's sort of like the Exam B of Exam C, if you follow my drift, except it's also narrower and so forth compared to... Okay, you see, the problem with this is that I'm not playing well tonight, and that'll be a significant problem in getting through the harder stages, if you follow. You see, because if I can't even get down the stairs consistently, how am I going to fare against the later parts of this stage, let alone the later stages of this mod, which I presume will only keep getting more difficult, although I actually had the most difficulty with that sort of, with the very first stage, I think, the seesaw one, the seesaw wire one. That was a very hard stage, like very, very hard. The hardest I've played in my Monkey Ball career, perhaps. I'm not actually certain that's the case, but it probably ranked up there, truth be told. It was definitely high up in my hard level of Monkey Ball list. But I would guess that something like Culmination, or, even just Stamina Master, at least doing Stamina Master the proper way, those are probably harder stages that I've completed. But when you've got a mod made of 10 levels that you have to do in order, and all of them are this hard, well, it gets quite hard. I don't know what I can tell you past that. It may take me a few moments to get back into my groove. It is seeming that that is what is happening, so I hope you all will be willing to bear with me here as we play some Monkey Ball on this lovely night. I said this last time, but I really do find the Monkey Ball background very relaxing with its aesthetics and its music both. They make it a lot easier for me to continue on stages like this or the original Exam C or tracks. It doesn't really grate on me ever. Not like something like Bad Boon's bass. I can't handle Bad Boon's bass for long periods of time. I think that's part of the reason why I hate Helix so much, just because it's in that particular background that I just don't enjoy the aesthetics of in any capacity. Either the music or the visuals, and that just makes it, it makes it hard to tolerate a TDS stage like that. Okay, definitely getting back into the groove here, I think. Just need to, be relatively quick in the twin cross section, because there is really no time to waste in terms of finishing this stage as soon as possible due to the relatively constrictive time limit, which definitely has the chance of posing a problem if I just a lollygag, as you might say. I typically would not say such things, but some might. I won't stop you. It's really your choice. But yeah, depending on how this goes, I might not finish the mod in this video. I'm not committing to that or anything, like not finishing it, I still might. It depends on how things go, but just, I'm sure you'll be able to see how much I progressed based on the comments on the server and even the very title of the video, but yeah. Okay, that got a little bit spooky, but we're all G. The V poses no threat at all to skilled monkey ballers such as ourselves, myself in particular. Perhaps it does pose a challenge to you. You're your own person. Decide for yourself. Okay, let's not lose our heads on the stairs section. Be careful not to lose my head. Alright, just going to do my best not to do any head loss here. Head loss would not be appreciated. That is not the goal here. We can do this relatively leisurely. I've got a decent amount of time, but it still is very narrow. I think that's somewhere between 0.3 and 0.4 in width, perhaps 0.4, but that is still a width that is not very wide, which makes paths with that width difficult to do, particularly when they are curved in that manner. I'm sure all you monkey ball intellectuals out there will understand. Okay. Alright. We're definitely progressing here, definitely getting more consistent. I'd like to say, not counting these last couple of attempts. These were just practice runs, though, These ones don't count. You'll understand. Respectable monkey ball intellectuals such as yourselves will understand. Only an intellectual monkey baller would bother to tune into my channel. I know. Don't worry, I understand my viewers. I understand the kind of person it takes to understand my content. You actually have to have a very high IQ to understand Julius Pseudo's YouTube channel. I do think that the diners are in the exact same positions as in Exam C, if I'm not mistaken, which definitely adds to this being a harder version of Exam C. I could be mistaken about that, but I'm pretty sure the Rock and Roll Diner is straight ahead of the entrance, so to speak, of Exam C as well. I think the building locations are standardized for the great majority of Monkey Mall levels, so it makes sense. Okay. We didn't lose our heads there. Didn't lose our heads on the V. And with any luck, we won't lose our heads there either. Oh, got so close that time. Well, we're getting close, we're getting better. We'll get that soon, friends, don't you worry. I should start an ASMR channel, or just do ASMR videos on my channel. I think that could be fun, right? I don't know. Monkey Ball ASMR, is there a market for that? I don't know. You tell me. I'm only half serious, but it could be fun. Oh, I need to get a better microphone though. I noticed that unlike Exam C, this stage doesn't have that thing where like you go slightly to the left from the start. I think that's just due to the monkey being like slightly off center in their position, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, you see, that's what I'm talking about when I talk about losing our heads. I just lost my head there. And I hecked it up. Okay. I was saying at the end of the last video, but I got cut off, that, yeah, I believe it was Bytes who made a version of Exam C where everything has the mechanics of Mad Shuffle. That would be a fun stage to try sometime in a video, although I think I'd actually hate myself after not very long. And I lost my head on the V there, which is not somewhere where I would hope to lose my head on. But it seems I got a little hasty, and you don't want to get hasty. Especially on a stage like this. I mean, you have to be hasty to some extent is the thing, so... It becomes difficult to strike a balance, you'll understand. Sometimes you frankly just want it to be over. That makes it harder too, to decide when to be hasty and when to take your time. Okay, yeah, you see I lost my head again there because I was being too hasty. I don't know why I'm sticking so closely to this terminology this video, but I think it's a pretty good way to explain it, frankly. I think it's something we can all relate to. Sometimes your head just comes clean off when you get overexcited in Monkey Ball. I think this is a hashtag relatable experience for anyone who's played this game. Okay. That was a lovely performance, if I do say so myself. We've got a pretty decent amount of time here. Okay. But I still got hasty on the last part, so that won't be optimal. Okay. Got a little too far to the left there. I am becoming overconfident in my skills at the stairs section, but I also do feel genuinely confident in them. So, again, it becomes difficult to strike a balance. That's part of the difficulty of playing Monkey Ball. I think the time limit is very important to this game because of that. It's an important balancing factor in making sure that you have to, test your limits a little bit and how fast you're willing to go. I like that it's there. It's a good way to add to the challenge. It makes much more sense than something like the timers in Mario games, for example. That comes to mind as like an example of a largely pointless timer because it discourages exploration, but is also like very rarely short enough that it actually matters. I mean, of course, Mario is a very different kind of game. It focuses on, considerably larger scale levels than you ever see in Monkey Ball. In Monkey Ball, I mean, levels never, by definition, last more than 60 seconds, except for some mods that have longer levels. I mean, like this one right now has a 65-second time limit. But, traditionally the timer could only be, or was, I don't know about could only be, was only 30 or 60 seconds. I'm going to be quiet here. Hope you'll understand. That's it, everyone. That's Exam S. Really happy I got that done. With only 2 seconds left, the time limit was beginning to freak me out, but we got it done. And that's really wonderful. Get all 100 bananas. Okay. Huh. I'm not sure what that level was about. I obviously sort of failed in a sense, at least by its own definition, to get all 100 bananas, but that still was a real goal that allowed me to progress. So I'm not really sure what just happened there, but whatever it was, it's alright. And now we've got some kind of, this is like some kind of like classical English music that is playing now, and it's just a blank white background. I sort of expected this to be some kind of failure state almost, but it does seem to be just the next stage. I might go back and check out that level, stage 5, later in practice mode, because it seems like it might be of interest. Okay, so seems I need to build up a little bit more speed here. This is definitely some intense rotation on this platform, especially for how small it is, how narrow it is. So it'll pose a significant challenge to stay on. I also have to sort of go against the curve here. Yeah, it's very hard to actually make any progress here. It just sort of feels like I'm spinning my wheels almost. Due to how fast this is rotating against the direction I need to be moving in. But I guess I am making a little bit of progress. Yeah, I am making progress. Alright, this is a cool stage. The music here is certainly unusual, and it's a very different feeling from those first 5 Monkey Mall stages. I think I might like Monkey Mall a considerable degree more than this, honestly. This isn't quite as relaxing, but I mean, you know, it's at least not like some kind of like intense or grating music. It's actually very calm in its own way, but it's not soothing to me. I mean, maybe just because I don't have the same kind of attachment to whatever this short loop song is that I do to the Monkey Mall song, something that was, you know, frankly a significant song that I used to hear a lot in my childhood just playing this game. Okay, getting on the second one's going to be harder, but also it does seem like it might be a little bit easier to do, though it has a sharper curve at the end. I want to get the mini-map zoomed all the way in because I think that would help a lot for getting onto the second one. I want to make sure I have the mini-map continually zoomed in. Okay. Though I am guessing that the final 5 stages are all going to be in this background, so we'll see how that goes. All right. Okay. That was a lovely performance, I think. Okay. Yeah. Alright, this shouldn't be too bad, I don't think. Certainly a difficult stage, but I wouldn't say this is as hard as Exam S. At least I don't think. I don't think it'll take me as long as that did. Oh, that was hasty. That was losing my head. texture work on the stage itself is definitely good, I will say that. The texture work in the background is a bit strange, though. Not... Oh, I tried to do a jump there, but that was losing my head. That was textbook head loss. This is a fun mod to play. I hope you don't make any mistake with that. I am really glad to be playing this. And I hope that you all are enjoying it as well. You know, something I have to wonder, does one have to texture the, like, continue screen platform? Like, is that something you have to do manually when you make a new background? I've never really thought about that, but at least all the original backgrounds do have their own skyboxes for when, or like their own like models for when you're on the continue screen. Yeah, and it doesn't seem this one does. The continue screen there just seemed to have a blank background, but the background here is also fairly blank. It's just like some kind of endless salt flat that just goes into draw fog. So I do have to wonder how that works. And this floor doesn't really seem like it's the same texture as the floor here. It's a lot darker in color. Okay. I'm experiencing a bit of head loss here. This is a cool stage concept. It's a bit like grid bridges, except much harder than grid bridges. Or just grid bridge, I believe it's called. I like it. This is one that doesn't look like super hard when you just take like a first look at it, but once you actually get on, you're like, oh fuck, I'm just gonna die. And it like I said when I first started playing this, it does feel like if you don't go like extra fast on here, it does just kind of feel like you're spinning your wheels a bit, like you can move against the curve, but you don't actually make any progress unless you really make a push for it, and that's definitely a huge part of the difficulty of this one. And it's difficult to judge like when you actually need to like really, make a push and go for it and try to get off the, onto the next platform, and when you should just, keep progressing. So I commend Twix Ninja for that. This is a very well designed stage. It puts your monkey ball skills to the ultimate test. I'm in that rut stage where I'm just like kind of temporarily worse at the stage because I've become overconfident, I've become greedy, I've become complacent. All of those vaguely negative terms. Okay, here we are once more at the critical juncture. Okay. I think the second one is actually a little bit narrower than the first, but only a tiny bit. So, yeah. I could be mistaken about that at all, though. I'm not really certain one way or another, but it does seem slightly narrower by my reckoning. Okay, well, I sort of went off of the first one too fast, too quickly, so almost immediately died. I'm glad this stage doesn't have like a 30-second time limit or something. That would make it just nuts. I'm not encouraging you to do this, truly. I think that would make the stage worse than it is. I think the current time limit for it works very well. I don't think this stage needs to be about time necessarily. Not every stage needs to have a restrictive time limit, despite what I said before. It's sometimes an important element of the game, but, you know, not on every stage. Some stages are just hard because they're hard, and that's okay too. Though I will say I do think that most of like the kind of top hardest stages out there are hard because they have like a restrictive time limit like Stamina Master and Culmination from Monkey Ball 2. But then you've also got brackets from Monkey Ball 2, which I found harder than Culmination my first playthrough, and not that Culmination wasn't extremely hard in its own right, but that one doesn't have a restrictive time limit at all, really. But all of its challenge just comes from it being a very hard level. You can check out my Monkey Ball 2 videos to see those levels, by the way, if you're interested in seeing what I'm on about. This is a very unusual song for Monkey Ball. But I kind of like that it's here. It's a bit of a power move. And it's relaxing in its own way, so I think it works. Yeah, I feel you don't want to have too much of a, exciting song for Monkey Ball usually. Like, it needs to be sort of soothing in its own way. Like, though you do have songs like Storm from the original that are not really soothing at all, but they still work in their own way. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I do like the Storm song. I think it's very good. But probably I don't like it as much though, as I should say. But you've also got like the space theme, and that one's also pretty intense, and it's also very good, and I don't find it grating. So, but the Bad Boon Space song, I feel like that one could be described as soothing, but I do find it very grating. So, it's at least like a calm, relatively low-key song, but I don't like it. That's just my hot take, though. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more Julius Pseudo hot takes. Hey, we did it. That's Redux for you. Alright. Next up is Mad Attacker. Okay, it's a bit like Twin Attacker, but it's mad. This time it's gone mad. Mad with power. Okay, I see. It's a lot like Twin Attacker, except without the slope, and instead we've got a bit of a... this one gets pretty wild later on. And it's considerably narrower than the original. This is definitely going to be a stage that poses a considerable challenge for even a seasoned veteran. I will tell you that much. This definitely seems to be that type of stage. I think there are some points where it would be safe to rest, however. Although I could be mistaken about that. Well, this one, this seems like the hardest so far, I'm not gonna lie. I might actually have to take a breather here. We've gotten through another 3 stages in this video. I might have to resume when I have more energy tomorrow. This is just a prediction of mine. I won't commit to that yet, but I do have to pace myself, so, you know, we all have to pace ourselves. And this is a hell of a stage. Also, tofu galls, Twix, for shame. Of course I do not actually judge. The tofu galls are valid in their own right, and I understand that you probably wanted specifically a very sparse background for these stages. That does seem to be the specific intent. So I can respect having intentional tofu galls in that way. Tofu galls, for those uninformed, are just these plain white galls, which are like the default model. They're very similar to the original, like Monkey Ball 1 arcade version galls, which were not white, but they were, they had these same models, but except they were like either like green, blue, or blue, you know, blue, green, or red. The standard gall colors. Yeah, gosh, this is a hell of a stage, though. Okay, that was progress, I think. That felt like progress. Oh, man. You know, getting past Exam S just felt like a huge hurdle to surpass. And then you've got this. It's just like, oh man, Twin Attacker always gave me so much trouble as a kid. It took me forever to pass that stage the first time. Thought I'd never do it. And then I did. And then there was Sega Logo, and that was like also really hard. Especially because I had to figure out my own strategies for it. Like that one's a pretty, like Sega Logo, you know, I mean, that does seem to be somewhat of an intended route, but it's a very non-linear stage overall. I'm realizing here that if I actually just like push against the attacker, it might seem unintuitive, but if I push against the attacker, it will not have as much of an effect on me, I think. No, that doesn't help actually. But it can work in some situations. I need to have like a very high speed in the direction of the wall though, in order to actually like counteract it in any significant way. So just like shifting over slightly to bump into it is not going to work. But like if I'm going fast into the end here, that might allow me to survive it. Oh man, that was real progress and it makes me want to continue now. Like just continue tonight's attempts. I really am curious to know what was up with stage 5 though. I'll definitely just ask on the voice chat on Cherum's server if it's still active when I end this video. Like what, if anyone knows what's up with that one. It seems like it might be some sort of bonus stage, especially since it's stage 5. But also, there's not that much point to extra lives in a mod like this where you have infinite lives. Anyways. I'm guessing it has like perfect bonus mechanics or something like that. Although I'm not actually sure if that was something that was possible at the time this mod was released. That perfect bonuses were added to SMB2 by Bomb Squad, if I'm not mistaken. And they were put in the deluxe port very shortly before release, as I understand it. So I'm pretty sure this came out considerably before that, like while I was still recording Monkey Ball 2, and that was like early to mid like 2019. So I think at the time of this one's release, you wouldn't have been able to do a perfect bonus, but I guess the 100 bananas thing might just be sort of like a intentionally optional challenge. I mean, certainly if you die, you would have to restart that one, like it wasn't a true bonus stage, but also I think if you just stood in place, you might even eventually just be touched by one of the calls that's swinging around. It definitely has had a very different feel from the other stages in this, where just surviving is extremely hard. Turning to the left there, I think, is the hardest part of this stage for me thus far, just because of the camera weirdness. You don't have to turn into an attacker at all. You just have to slightly shift left and right a couple of times. So needing to slow down to turn there really does change things. Okay, you know what? We're at 100 continues now, and that's where I'm going to call it. I'm going to continue this in the next few days. It may get interrupted by the release of the next community pack, but I do really want to finish this eventually. So, in the meanwhile, thank you for tuning in. All you lovely viewers, have a good night, and I will see you in my next video.